is the moment.
The Bachelorette is back. And the power
I'm gonna fall in love.
is in Jen's hands.
And I'm gonna do it my way.
ABC Monday.
Everything about her is great.
I feel so special.
Jen's looking like a queen.
My men are very, very hot.
Someone call 911. You are looking so fired.
This is the beginning of a new era.
The Bachelorette. All new Monday, 8, 7 Central on ABC. And stream on Hulu.
I'm trying to think. I'm like so disgusted by hearing what she did with that body.
It's disgusted. It's mental hysteria, Sauce.
It's satanic. It's something that Satan would do.
Satanic type of activity. We're seeing more and more of it in today's society. It's literally it's gross. It's grotesque. Really grotesque. Sauce, I want to plug this piece that we're coming in here from a Twitch streamer here, which we will give the floor to. Thank you very much, Liz Dexia 82. Literally, you got it. Now, I don't know if it's in reference to what we were talking about. It has to be in reference to what we're talking about here, which we'll plug it here in the show here. That people are hard up on money thanks to this administration.
Yeah. Wait, she's our number one fan.
Oh, Liz Dexia. Yeah, I had to look at that. You know, I feel like a simple-minded idiot now. This is actually, ladies and gentlemen, I think I just had a brain part. Liz Dexia 82, the co-host coming here on July 25th. Sauce, it's the co-host for the gaming series. I had to look at the I was like, what?
Oh.
So yeah, it's okay. We had a little brain fart here on the show. Oh, Sauce, the question here is that that the stuff that we see, we're talking about a story coming out of Sebastian, Florida, with this woman, okay, where this was actually, a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, July 7th. Now get this here, Sauce, I'll read the article here. It says that a warrant was obtained for the arrest of Miss Hopkins, 64 years old, out of Sebastian, Florida, for failing to report the death of her mother, Marie, and tampering. Get this, Sauce. She was caught tampering with evidence. That's a hefty charge. Very hefty charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the sad part is that whatever her name is, Sebastian.
Sebastian
the woman
is the town. Yes, Miss Hopkins.
Miss Hopkins is on a $10,000 bail bond, and she is now walking out free. So she paid her $10,000 bail. That's according to Washington Post. Yeah, well, remember Biden's administration?
Yeah, she probably got it from the fucking disability check that she's been fraudulently using.
See, but the question is, why are we giving? Okay, so Michael, here's another. Okay, why are we giving a bail amount of money for people that kill their own parents or kill anyone? Why are we giving them such a low bail? And this goes back to the Biden administration be on time and keeping sure that bad people are off the street. For instance, for that Gay Hopkins, to kill her 90-year-old woman, okay, back in April, and then to store her in the freezer, hidden by brush. So I'm going to read you the quick thing. So the department said an investigation showed the woman died of natural causes, and that 2 weeks before her body was put in, investigators searching the property found a heavy stained mattress hidden in thick brush and covered with cut palm leaves, police said. And that was all within a freezer. What kind of a freezer was it where you put a mattress in on top of your mother? Was it one of those big freezers, or what was it?
No, I'm reading the article too. You're probably reading the same article I'm reading, Sauce, where the actual article says that that it was a chest freezer. You know, like one of those chest freezers people like to put like meats and stuff like that. Yeah. A lot of Floridians, you know, I lived in Florida for a little bit. A lot of Floridian sauce, it's very popular in Florida. They love buying the chest freezers. So, you know, they like buy bulk, like meats and like, you know, ice pop for the kids and all that stuff. So this woman had to be a tiny woman, a tiny old woman to fit a freaking chest freezer, you know?
Yeah, and what the other question is, well, here's another bigger question. Who always has to
be Alrighty, guys, welcome to today's show. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the podcast. For those who are just catching up, hope you enjoyed that little intro there video. To do little intro videos, we always know that there are not always the same people that view the live feeds. You know, everybody has lives today in America. You know, so sometimes we catch new listeners. Sometimes the listeners that may have listened to the show last night probably won't see this until like 4 or 5, sometimes 6, 7 days from now. Hell, they might even wait for another month to just watch it. You'd be very amazed, very amazed. Also want to thank my United Kingdom listeners here. Thank you very much to the folks in United Kingdom. Getting a really, really good response from folks in Dublin, Ireland, as well as Scanster, Scotland, if I'm pronouncing the first name correctly. Thank you very much to the folks in Scotland, as well as Liverpool, London. Yes, my European follow and listening is off the charts. Guys, we have Saucelin back in the into the studio here on the show of shows, guys. I'm right back, guys, but don't go anywhere. We got a really, really good topic. We're back to the freaking January 6th committee. Now, a lot of people are saying, was it set up to literally kill off the Republican Party? Well, a lot of people are seeing that. A lot of people are seeing it. You know, the Mueller reports, the Russia collusion, the Russian PP tapes, right? Remember the Russian PP tapes where they said that there was Russian strippers peeing on Trump in some kind of hotel room? Crazy nonsense, guys. About all of that on tonight's show. Coming at you. Don't touch the dial.
Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome to today's show. Welcome. Guys, I'm usually on the left-hand side of the screen, but apparently the Restream network decided to put me on the right side. That's okay. It doesn't.
Because you're always right.
You can see me anyway. Well, I'm not always right. I'm not perfect. I'm not God, you know.
Neither. Hey, maybe this is telling you that you're more right than I am. Like conservative wise, maybe I'm towards left leaning. Maybe that's good.
I hope not. Jesus! I hope you're not on the left. God, you break my heart, man.
Hey, we need Tommy Nation for that, right? Tommy Tatum politics. He needs to be on this side, way far off the screen.
I hope he joins the right side soon, one day, right?
I hope so. Well, hey, and speaking of it,
people like him would be censoring us, right? Censored, you know.
Yeah. So. I have very exciting news for your viewers. So literally today, I got invited for the Tommy Nation Politics show. Now, do you want to tell them about that, Michael, and see what kind of your experience was and why that's such a big deal?
Oh boy, yeah. Without breaking his heart, if I may add, you know. About Tommy Nation, right? What's there to say, right? What's there to say? Guys, I guess it's an honor for Tommy to have actually Soslin on his show coming up because Soslin speaks the truth. He doesn't hold back. And sometimes people don't want to hear the true sauce, mainly the liberal, the independent progressive left. They don't want to hear the truth. So, I just want to basically say, without breaking Tommy's heart, that a lot of stuff that Tommy says is sometimes incorrect. He does speak from an independent leftist narrative, which I'm probably going to get a lot of negative feedback after Tommy probably watching this show. Why is Michael saying this on the show? I'm not a bad person. But,
Yeah, and I feel...
Yeah, go ahead, Sauce.
And I kind of feel bad because I'm not even on his show. I'm already bashing him.
I don't know. He's an interesting guy, Sauce. I think you're going to be rather interested of his content. He does a lot of, I want to give credit to where it's due. I will give him somewhat of credit. He's a very talented content creator, putting a lot of content out there. But he says a lot of things that I don't agree with. A lot, So, I'm still trying to figure him out, Sauce. I want to call him a progressive leftist. He does represent an extreme leftist at some points with some of his demeanor that he says on his show. But, you can't see him on the right. You can't see him on the left. He's in that middle somewhere. There's a name for that type of party. Almost, if you want to call him a socialist, a mild socialist, if that. He does, and I will say this, Sauce, he does support the socialist Bernie Sanders. He does.
So he's anti-American.
He's what?
So he's anti-American party.
Yeah, he doesn't support the Democrat or the Republican party one bit. You will hear that on his show. He does not support those two parties. He thinks that they're they're not for America. So
no. Well, I definitely can tell you he's going to absolutely have a field day with Steve Bannon. So I don't know if I sent you the article, but now Steve Bannon now has to go in front of the January 6th committee and testify in front of their committee. According to one of the, I think I sent you the article, according to Epoch Times, and I sent you the article, say Steve Bannon now has to go in front and testify in front of the January 6th committee. And this is according to the Post.com. So it said DC judge rules Bannon must stand trial next week for refusing to go in front of the January 6th trial. So he has to go in court in the Supreme Court next week. What are your thoughts on that?
I see that article. Article, Sauce. I took time to actually download it because I wanted to put like a really, really good, imagery here for the show. But I'll put that on the Instagram. I do apologize to Sauce here because he does put out a lot of research, and he's always researching things. So I do want to apologize to Sauce. I really do. But I'm going to try to put that on the Instagram and the Facebook, as well as the True Social account here for the Patriot Angle podcast. What are my thoughts on that, Sauce? Big Trump guy, right? Sauce, this is what we're talking about tonight. The January 6th committee, right? They're attacking every little affiliate that had all ties to Donald Trump. They're trying not only kill the Republican Party, Sauce, but they're trying to bury the Trump name. They don't want him to run for 2024. And by going to Steve Bannon, which was a big name in the Trump cabinet, right? Trump cabinet. He was there. Yeah. He was way up there. Guys, you're going to hear for the first time on this show. My thoughts on this, Sauce. Wow. The Democrats are not only smart, but it's a genius thing to do. Go after the top guy of the former Trump cabinet.
Yeah. I think, well, here's my whole thing on it. I think if, Steve Bannon, he doesn't hold back. I think of Steve Bannon as me being younger. I don't hold back. You know me. I don't hold back research.
Right.
And I think I would love to have Steve Bannon testify in front of the January 6th committee, because he'd be a fantastic person, because he's back. He's going to tell it the way it is. And who I wouldn't be surprised to also go in front is Mike Lindell. I would not be surprised if Mike Lindell also gets called to go in front of the January 6th committee as well, because he was also
the My Pillow guy.
Yes, I won't be surprised if he does either. Or the custodian that cleaned up after the custodian that was in the White House that cleaned up after President Trump walked through, and he just swept the floor. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to testify either.
They're gonna testify a custodian, a janitor? Are you kidding me?
I'm being smart. Who knows? They probably will.
It's funny. It's funny. Yeah. I mean, go down to the Nixon cranny sauce. Let's, if they're going to testify everybody, they're going to testify the janitor, the My Pillow guy. Christ, they might even testify the bellhopper. That answers the freaking door. I mean,
or the police officers that. But you see their bigger picture though. With them, see, the sad part is that, like I stated in my paper like a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's fantastic because a lot of people, and it's funny, I have one person come up to me, they're like, you know what, you are absolutely right about your paper. I don't know why I couldn't read it sooner, and I don't know why I couldn't follow you sooner, but you are right about how the January 6th is gaslighting this nation.
Oh,
and that I should have sooner. And they are.
Yeah.
You see how it was supposed to last 2 weeks, and now it's lasting into July. The problem with this is that's going to last into August. And now there's rumors, according to Epoch Times, which I believe Epoch Times, they're a very conservative news source. They did a very exclusive interview in America's Voice, and they broke some stating what the Biden administration really is doing. It's stating that they're projecting President Trump getting arrested in October, and then anyone that supports him and that comes to defend him, they're going to instate the martial law, and therefore, once the martial law gets instated, they can arrest anyone that supports President Trump. And now they can't vote, and now we lose the majority. What's that?
They're going to arrest him? They're going to arrest him?
Well, okay, this is brand new. So I come with breaking news. So this is brand new information that your viewers do not know, neither do you. I watched the whole exclusive today, and I was just absolutely flabbergasted that this came out on Epoch Times, America's Voice. And this was in Steve Bannon's war room, where they sat down and spoke with Kelly, who's a advocate for the lawyer for the January 6th people that are being held without their will. She stated that this is their plan of the Democratic Party's agenda. So they're going to prolong this until October, where they have enough information to stand President Trump on trial in the Supreme Court, where they can find him guilty and arrest him for treason.
What? Sauce, they're treating this thing
you didn't know that
as it's, I did hear bits and pieces of this. But a lot of people, Sauce, are referring this trial as it's a banana republic behavior. This is stuff you would see in a banana republic, literally.
Yeah, this is something you see in Russia. And I just want to tell your viewers, I'm not coming up with this information. I tell you that. I do extensive amount of research into this. So like when I do your show and stuff, it's interesting. I have people reaching out to me now. They're like, are you actually telling the truth? Are you actually sending? You can go on Michael's phone and you see like just floods of information.
Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I did want to make an announcement there, guys. For those of my listeners here and the viewers that tune into this show, either on a daily or a weekly, sometimes a monthly basis, depending on the region that we reach here. The website, if you notice, has been down for roughly a few weeks. We are in the stages of redesigning it, refurbishing it. So that's why I put on the bottom of the screen Patriot Unfiltered, directing my viewers to the actual merchandise, But when we get the website back up in line, we're going to put that into the show's graphics. But, guys, when we get the website up and running, which should be back, I have folks that help me on the outside here of the show with the website that will be plugging in information. When we do have the website back up and running, okay, and it's not in the update scenario, we're going to plug in all the information that Sauce here goes out of his way. I mean, he researches to an extent levels of everything that's going on. He's not just making this up. I mean, I could show you the screenshots off of a phone that he does all the researches. I'll plug it into the damn website. I'll put it on social media to show you, expose to the American public of what this damn government is doing to our country. Like Sauce says, they are literally transforming this country into almost as if it was a Russia, a communist Russia or China. It's terrible, Sauce. I use the words a banana republic behavior. This trial that is set to take place on July 18th is becoming that type of demeanor. It's terrible.
Yep.
Terrible.
And it's becoming like a Russian style kind of a government, where they go after anyone. That's where I feel like, where people are stating that, hey, it's going to be a red tsunami or it's going to be a red wave. That's where I'm more of a realistic person. Because if you do the research I do, I put hours and hours of research. I only actually research. So, like, I don't really watch TV. I research, for these podcasts. Either I'm researching or working. But the fact that we have, and here's why I think there's not going to be a red wave. Because of their agenda and of the Democrats are going to push this until October and make these important laws. And why do you think they laid off over 60,000 National Guard troops? I think they laid them off. Why do you think that they're pushing the National Guard out and leaving it to the federal troops so that so the National Guard people can't uprise and they can't defend their own states because it's got to be the federal military that comes in. And they're doing this and they're positioning. You look at Fort McCoy. You look at Martin Truex Airfield in Madison. You look at what they're there. They're putting these tent-style cities on these military bases. So that's the thing that's very disturbing. And they're not open yet they won't be open to the public because October hasn't hit. So I'd be very crucial. What's that?
No, I was going to say, this is the same thing. You talk about tent cities, right? You could talk about what they did to our military during the whole January 6th thing, right? They had people camping out in parking garages.
And not only that, but three soldiers died because of the way that the tent cities were. 3 soldiers died, and all what Biden could do is hand them cookies. I mean, how big of a slap in the face is that to our troops? But the fact that we have a Russian-style government going after our own American people, but we gotta save it's all because we gotta save the democracy. Just like what the World Economic Forum just came out today, stating that we have to raise the gas prices in order to combat and in order to combat climate change and to save our democracy. There's a fine difference between democracy and a republic. And we're about to lose our republic, which is what the United States has done. And the democracy that they're talking about is a democracy that Russia has, and it's
Sauce, I get tired of hearing this democracy crap. We are not a democracy. No. Get that crap out of the window. No. Stop with the democracy shit. We're not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. For and by the people of the United States of America. Plain and simple.
And here's an interesting fun fact for you. Here's an interesting fun fact. So the reason why they're pushing the democracy word, you know how democracy ever was started? So back in World War II, when Adolf Hitler was trying to take power and he was in the assembly, he stated that Germany was a democracy. And that the Nazi party had to fight for democracy, which was the land of the free and all this whole shenanigans. Because Germany was originally founded upon the Constitution, and so was Russia. So you have Joseph and Adolf Hitler stating that, hey, we got to save our democracy. So what happened was, back in World War, back when that Germany, that the old leader of Germany was assassinated, Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler worked together to kill the leader, where then gave Adolf Hitler a clear path to eventually become the Third Reich, which was horrible. We know how. See, a lot of people don't really know what democracy leads to, and they're just opening it up with open doors. So that's why I say that the moment they use democracy is the moment that you adopted Adolf Hitler's agenda and Joseph Stalin's agenda. And that's when they stated, quote unquote, this is their words, do not attack America. This is what Joseph Stalin said to Japan, because Japan was eyeing out on America, first of all. So they had a private meeting, Joseph Stalin did, along with the Hiroshima, whatever his name was. And he threatened Japan. They're like, do not attack America.
Yeah.
Japan,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Hiroshima was like, why not? They're like, America will collapse within itself. And what will happen during that time? October 29th, 1929, we went into a depression and America collapsed. Well, we almost collapsed. But then Japan went out of the way and they stopped listening to Russia, and then they did their own thing, and we know how that turned out. And then it was Russia that went on, so-called America's ally, and attacked Japan as well. And see, that's the big difference.
You can even look at it too, Sauce. Yeah, you could even look at it too with the with Adolf Hitler has a lot of history with the Putin family. This goes back to the Putin family.
Yeah,
trauma coming out of
and
that. Sauce is touching on World War II. If you want to touch on that, I mean, there's a huge piece between, Putin history, family ties of history between Putin and the Hitlers, a lot of trauma coming out of that. Yeah.
And I would like to apologize to your view. So I just want to apologize to your viewers, but here's why it's important to understand the history content, because it's important to understand history. Am I right on this, Michael?
Yeah.
Do you think it's important
sure,
to
absolutely. I always say, Sauce, if you don't know your history, you're damn well gonna repeat it. You know what I mean? So yes, very.
And
important.
What are we doing as
what
are we doing as a nation? We're repeating history.
Every step of it.
We are literally on the precipice of what Adolf Hitler did. How, for instance, they cried, and it's interesting how the new Nazi party is integrated into our government, and how they're all working with each other on both sides. And it's also interesting because if you look at the clothes and if you look at their pins on certain people, you see that they all have the same color. You see that they all do a secret communication. What did the Nazi Germany do? They did the same communication on both sides. So they worked with both sides of a secret party. And that secret party eventually took over, and that gave them the super majority. And this is why I think October is going to be a very crucial month, especially for all the candidates, and especially for this nation, because November is going to be so important that a lot of people don't understand what's on hand in November. And that's why it's so important to hold your politicians accountable.
Yeah.
And for instance, today, I don't know if you also heard, but today the new gun law that was passed, with literally banning assault weapons, and how we had the Republican Party support the bill that Joe Biden. That is psychotic. Every single of those Republicans should be voted out and should not be given a.
Yeah.
Because
I agree, Sauce. It's psychosis at extreme levels. Yeah.
You're seeing their true colors form. You're seeing their true colors. And it's the same exact people like Liz Cheney, putting that theatrical show on January 6th, not on January 6th, in the committee. All these people that are voting, that are, thank goodness, getting primaried out, that were on the January 6th commission and stuff, thank goodness they're getting primaried out, but they need to get primaried out sooner than later. And this is really bad timing that America's at. And you know who we all can thank about this, right? We can once again thank Paul Ryan for his complacency and his slow stepping and slow walking that ended up losing the House. We can thank him because we wouldn't be in this situation if he didn't put more. But he had a different agenda. We all know that. When you work Nancy Pelosi and stuff, your agenda is the same thing: destroy Trump, and then whoops, well, we should have done better, or build the establishment and then have the establishment go after the populist people.
Yeah.
and their candidates.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think we are at a. Sorry.
No, I was going to say that, I agree with you. You also have to look at the people that created all this. Like you said, a lot of people knew that this was going to come. They were looking for something. They were looking for something. They were looking for something. Sorry, guys, I sound like a broken record, but it's true. They were looking for something strong sauce, something that's going to hold, something that they know that there's going to be a strong link in the chain that's not going to break. This January 6th, like I said, it was a setup. It was a coup. It was all staged out by the radical left. They knew that they could do something. You know how easy it is to manipulate people. Say, hey, listen, this is what needs to be done. We're going to pay you. And this is how it's going to go down. These people that were in the Capitol on January 6th were paid demonstrators of actors that were put there like it was a freaking movie, like it was a prop. It was a scene to a movie, an action thriller or something. And they did it on purpose to try to kill off this Republican movement. They know it's strong. They know that Donald Trump is the new voice and face of the Republican Party. And they know that that face in that movement of the new Republican Party is not going to be easy to kill off. So what they do? They tried this and they knew it was going to work. They knew it was going to work, And now what they do now, Sus? Yeah, I'm sorry. What they do now, Sus? They're testifying every elite that was under Donald Trump for those 4 years. They're going after everybody. Giuliani, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. They're going after everybody. Donald Trump Jr. just got testified in the last couple of weeks. I think he's going to be testifying on July 18th. Sauce, they're doing it on purpose. They're trying to bury Trump.
Well, and not only that, but they should. I mean, it's scary, isn't it? Yeah. Well, and look at this. Okay. It was half of those people that stormed the Capitol were FBI operatives. A lot of people are not looking at that. They were also FBI operatives that knew how to get to Nancy Pelosi's desk, and they knew which parts to get into, and to steal Nancy Pelosi's podium stand. And they also knew what to do. So that's what I think that's what's really DOJ was behind this as well. That the DOJ also undermined the Trump administration and stating that, you know what? We're not going to do what you're going to say. We're going to do the opposite, and we're going to discredit all your hard work and and I hate to say it, I wouldn't put a pass to it if Bill Barr was behind this as well, if he framed President Trump.
You think Barr is behind it? Barr had a lot of influence. I noticed in the weeks they've been pressuring Barr, pressure him. The DOJ is starting to get involved with Bill Barr. You think that's us? That's a really interesting bit you just brought up there. Yeah.
I think Bill Barr was behind this. I think he was paid out, and I think he was there to undermine President Trump, and that he was. Here's why: because he was in charge of the Department of Justice. He was in charge of the FBI operatives. All right. The fact that he didn't do anything, even for instance, the 2020 election, the fact that he was the first one to say, hey, you know what? The election was fair and Joe Biden is your legitimate president, and that he gave Joe Biden he gave him a phone call, congratulated him. And 2 nights later, they went to a victory party. And who was there? Mike Pence, Bill Barr, and so was other Trump cabinet members that he so later. They were all there. And Bill Barr resigned, knowing that he got caught. And so what did he do?
Yeah, I remember that. They all had freaking cocktails right afterwards. Yeah.
See, that doesn't sound like a person that I feel bad. That sounds like a person that that's like, oh, you know what? Give me a couple $1 million and I'll destroy a man and I'll destroy the movement that he's making. So I'm going to put a whole bunch of actors. I'm going to put a whole bunch of FBI operatives to do the work for you.
Yeah, they do it. They know what they're doing, Sauce. They know what they're doing. Because you know what this is, Sauce? This is about securing a victory for the Democratic Party. They don't care about constitutional republic rights. They don't care about rights. They don't care about constitutional laws. They care about supremacy and control over the people. That's what they care about.
Yep.
That's what they care about.
And they also care about keeping people in the dark. So if you are, and if you are like, as long as you're brainwashed, you listen to all the news, or like the major news networks, as long as you rely on that for the news, you are left in the dark. You don't know between what's right and wrong. You look at Madison, for instance, you see people coming up like, oh, January, have you seen January 6th? Like, there's like so important, like it's a bipartisan support. No, you jackwagon. Look at other news networks besides Fox News, CNN, and all the major news networks. They say different. And you look at the factual evidence. I mean, here's why I say that. I'm like, you're telling me that a person that can leap across a limousine, crawl through a tiny window, grab somebody's neck, and demand a gun. So you're telling me that a president that's like almost 6'9" or 6'5" did that, and he's a heavier set person. You're telling me that he squeezed through that tiny window? No. There's got to be some obvious answers, but you're closed. You have your eyes closed because of the idiotic news media.
See, Sash, you're talking about stuff that the little man can't really figure out right away. The little man, like me and you, right? Exactly. Yes. The little man. We can't see this right away. So that it's easily to manipulate the American person, so to speak.
Yeah. And isn't it sad to see how the news media does that? They push so much propaganda upon the people. You know, they push the propaganda. It's that brain that Nazi Germany did.
The same thing they did to the Jews. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely
but they're doing it
right. But this is about, Sas, this is about this January 6th is another plan to try to secure a victory for 2024. They know Biden is sinking like a rusty ship in the shipyard. They know that the ship is going down. They know that he cannot manage the helm of presidency. So what are they going to do, Sus? They're going to try everything in their power to try to secure a Democratic victory for 2024. They'll put anybody in power. They don't. It's not about who has a correct voice for America, for the people. It's about control. They'll put anybody. Hell, they'll put fucking AOC or Nancy Pelosi at the helm. They don't care. It's about power.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that we're also going to see. It's going to be interesting when President Biden goes to the Middle East. It's going to be interesting when he does, because watch the things that are going to unfold during that time. I hate to say it, but I don't want anything bad happening to a person, but I think something bad's going to happen during that time. Because I think that's the perfect way of not.
I've heard some rumors happening around even October where, possibly, because Biden's health is not the best. The Democratic Party sees that. Liberal networks such as CNN, they're starting to pick up on it. They have been picking up on Biden's behavior. The man is weak. The man is fragile. He cannot speak. Sas, here's what I think, okay? Whether you're a Democratic candidate, politician, Republican politician, whatever, okay? Hell, you could be a fucking independent liberal for that matter. Here's my theory on this. When you reach a certain age, no matter who the hell you are, that is it. Your time is done. That's it. There's a special election that comes up. It doesn't matter if you got 3 years left in office, 7 years, 6 years. Hell, it doesn't matter if you just got to the helm of presidency. When you reach a certain age and you are showing demeanor of character of a politician like Joe Biden is showing at the Oval Office there in Washington, when you show that type of behavior and you cannot carry yourself as a person, as a president of the free world, that is it. Your time is done. A special election gets taken place, and that person is removed from public office. A new president, a new fit president becomes president, whether it's a man or a woman. Hell, it don't matter. It's not about, gender. Whatever that case may be, that is the next president. Sas,
Yep.
we are seeing a president that is posing a national security risk to our country with his health. It's deteriorating at a rapid rate.
Yeah. Well, how about this? What do you think about this? Okay. What if the Democrats win back the House? Okay. They also keep the Senate, but they get more seats in the Senate. All right. Nancy Pelosi still Speaker of the House. You have Moscow New Schumer, whatever his name is. He still is a leader of the Senate. Okay.
Yeah.
They invoke the 25th Amendment the following day, the next day. They go through that 25th Amendment stating that he's incompetent. They remove him by November, by Christmas time. And who do you get? You get Sloppy Harris, and then you also get Nancy Pelosi as the vice president, and then you get AOC as Speaker of the House. Then you have then America is in dire need, and that's where the country goes at a pinnacle point where something has to happen. Like what happened in Argentina, where people are uprising in Argentina. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, let me make a small correction. You were right on Harris and Nancy Pelosi. Harris would become the president. Pelosi would be the vice president. The new Speaker of the House would not go to AOC. That would go to Chuck Schumer because he is right? Am I correct? Chuck Schumer is the
he's a speaker for the Senate. So he's like the majority leader for the Senate.
Okay, so I was wrong on that. I don't think it would go to AOC. It would go to the fourth in command. AOC's not fourth in command, is she?
No, so what happened is that it doesn't matter. So Nancy Pelosi is Speaker of the House, and so she doesn't have she's not part of the cabinet. So Nancy Pelosi would not be, she would be the vice president. But then the House, the representative of the House would have to vote for a new Speaker of the House. So they have to delegate somebody else.
Oh, shit. You're right, Sauce. It would go to probably AOC.
Yeah. See, I know I might be stupid, but
God, yeah. That's a powerful not a duel, but how would you call that? A powerful squad there, so to speak, you know? 4 women. Wow.
But you look at
dangerous women, if I may add. Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you would also, and then you would add the Speaker of Tempur as Ilmar, whatever her name is. You add her as Speaker of the Tempur, and which is in charge of Omar. She'll be the Speaker of the Tempur, which is even the second in command and Speaker of the House. So you have Speaker of the House, and then you have Speaker of Tempur, which is really psychotic because then she can come up with draft of the bills, and she can either say, okay, we're going to send this to the Rules Committee and we can bounce this back, or this can go through and she doesn't have to. So that's, that's also a potential recipe that is psychotic. And I'm stating this up for the first time on your show, which I might be dumb, but this could potentially happen.
Dangerous possibility, Sauce, with around the midterms. Yes, I totally agree. Some dangerous paths heading our way in the coming months. Possibly a dangerous 2024. Guys, we got a lot more on this topic here. I do want to take a quick break. Right after the break, we're gonna plug this video in here coming out of Mark Levin. Everybody knows who Mark Levin is. Tremendous.
Oh, Mark
Levin, yeah. Sauce, I'm terrible with the names. Mark Levin. Yeah,
no, you're good.
Yeah. Guys, don't touch the dial. For those who are tuning in on Twitch, we're coming right back after these short words. Don't go anywhere. What the hell is?
I'm Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL, and today we're going rhino hunting. The rhino feeds on corruption and is marked by the stripes of cowardice. Join the MAGA crew. Get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit, and it doesn't expire until we save our country.
July 4th was only a week ago, but on July 4th, or maybe it was a day thereafter, I saw either a correspondent or a regular guest, and I think she was on MSNBC or CNN. What's the difference? And she said to the host that the Constitution does not serve our purposes anymore. It was written by a handful of white slave owners. This is what you get from the Marxist left, the Constitution. What's in the Constitution? Due process, free speech, freedom of religion, the right to bear arms, the right to be protected in your home, probable cause, all kinds of protections for the individual. What else is in the Constitution? Limitations on government, limitations on Congress, limitations on the presidency, limitations on the courts. So we don't have a kind of totalitarian regime centralized in one place, which is what the founders fought against. What else do we have in the Constitution? We have all kinds of things in the Constitution that promote what we call the civil society, law and order, and protect the individual. You see, these people who wrote the Constitution and adopted the Constitution, most of them were people of faith. Most of them were learned, even though they didn't all go to Princeton. Most of them looked back on the various governments that had existed before ours and during their times. And so they researched, they thought, they looked at philosophers, they looked at Aristotle and Cicero, they looked at Abraham and Moses, they looked at Jesus, they looked at so much. In 5.5 months in Philadelphia, they came up with the Constitution. And that Constitution wasn't imposed on the people. Every state legislature had a say. That is, they had a convention. Those state legislatures, where the individuals in those legislatures were elected at the localist of levels back then. And they would have these conventions of regular people and legislators who would get together and make decisions about what they supported and what they didn't support. Much more quote-unquote democratic, wasn't it? So when you have people go on television and denounce the entirety of the Constitution, you can then understand why they embrace and celebrate something like the January 6th committee in the House of Representatives. Every member of that committee was approved by and chosen by Nancy Pelosi, one of the most evil speakers of the House in American history, one of the most diabolical politicians in modern American history. All members on that committee, all 9, voted to impeach Donald Trump, who is the subject of their investigation. Not January 6th, not security for the Capitol, but Donald Trump. Someone once said it's like the 3rd impeachment. It pretty much is. At least 5 of the 9 members have openly, publicly, in the press, stated their purpose is to pressure the United States Department of Justice under the Attorney General appointed by Biden and the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney appointed by Biden, to indict former President Trump to ensure that he never gets close to the Oval Office again, that he can't take over the Republican Party, that he can't run for office again. That is a clearly unconstitutional process for the House of Representatives to be involved in. This committee leaks, it cherry picks information, it conceals exculpatory information, it conceals any information or witnesses that and who challenge their narrative. It manipulates evidence, and the entire public hearing process is a choreographed Stalinist show trial. They read from monitors. They show video. They have graphics, all in procession. The committee is investigating the Republican National Committee, scores of private and nonprofit organizations, Republican state officials, election attorneys, conservative media figures and organizations. Wow, that seems a little bit out of their jurisdiction. The committee has secretly obtained emails, text messages, and phone records, often without the knowledge of citizens, so the citizens can't go to court and challenge them. There have been violations left and right of attorney-client privilege, of attorney work product, of confidentiality. This is a core fundamental principle in our system of justice, ladies and gentlemen. The committee is now using extreme left-wing groups, it was just learned, that are tied to the Democrat Party, such as the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has come under financial and other scrutiny in the recent past, to funnel research to the committee. Quote, our work has helped to document coordination between Trump, his allies, and two extremist groups we've tracked for years, said the Southern Poverty Law Center to Politico. And this group, Southern Poverty Law Center, often smears Christian organizations, traditional conservative groups, and labels them as hate groups, among other things.
That's some good stuff, I tell you. Really good stuff. Thank you very much to the viewers here on Twitch, and also those who are going to join us after this broadcast is over on our audio platforms of Spotify, Apple, and Amazon Music. I did that on purpose. It was a lengthy clip. We usually do about a minute, sometimes 2-3, depending on the topic and the content. But Sas could probably agree with me. I think that clip there by Levin did serve a purpose here to the show. It showed a lot of relevancy to the topic we're talking about. Mm-hmm. A lot of good content, Sas, came out of this clip. A lot of unconstitutional crap that they are using with this January 6th committee. A lot is coming out. Mark Levin, he literally labeled it very, very accurately. So thank you very much. Kudos to him. Very much. Yeah.
Well, and that's psychotic. You know, of course you're going to put people that hate President Trump on the committee. You know, like all those 9 Republicans that voted for him to the first 2 impeachments. Of course you're going to put them on there. That's why I think Nancy Pelosi is the most Satanist. She's the satanic Speaker of the House, and she's one of the worst Speaker of the House America has ever had, because she is the most anti-American individual that lives in America, who thinks that everyone owes her something on the backs of the middle class. And she could care less who you are. As long as she gets her paycheck, and as long as she ruins your life, then she's okay. She can live. But as long as the moment that she starts somebody infringes on her life, she has to get rid of their life, and that she has to make sure that they can't get back in power. You know, that's why there's got to be some kind of a term limit, and there's got to be some kind of repercussions for this. But nobody's going to be held accountable. That's why it's so crucial. This November is so important to vote these hags out of office.
Well, Sas, this woman has been doing this for 30 plus years. She's an evil doer. She's an evil politician. She's in it for power. She's in it for corruption. She's in it to manipulate the little man, the working man, the man that is living paycheck to paycheck, barely affording groceries now that we have seen a 35, almost 40% increase in the last 2 years under this corrupted Biden administration. They can care less, Sas. They can care 2 shits about our well-being, our sovereignty, our welfare. All they're in it for is supremacy of power. This constitutional republic, Sas, has been hijacked by a radical socialist democratic party that our founders some 200 plus years ago have warned us about. They probably didn't speak about this about 20 years ago to us on a stage somewhere in Washington. But these are the warning Sas that the founders have tried to warn us about, of what a corrupted, bureaucratic, socialist, communist government looks like. And we're seeing it right now unfold beneath our eyes. Literally. It's terrible.
And the whole thing is that you see people that are, and here's one thing that ticks me off, or actually really irks me. Okay. When I'm in America and I go around my community, I get listeners from all walks of life because I do my own podcast.
Yeah.
What's so frustrating,
which is doing
about them,
great, by the way, too.
They're like, yes.
Yeah, we see the. I don't mean to cut you off, Sas, but hold on. We do see the comments here, and I want to give Sas credit where it's due, right? His podcast, guys, is doing phenomenal. We look at the metrics through Spotify, and I'm telling you what, right now, he's reaching people. You might not realize this, Sas, but you are reaching people. I think you're viewed right now in about 12 countries, and it's climbing. So, congratulations, buddy. You know, like I know you're probably young and you probably don't know this movie, Wayne's World, right? Garth Campbell, you know, the Wayne's World where we're not worthy, we suck. Yeah, very good. You know, thank you very much for giving out the content of the spiritual material. But, you know, let's get back to the show. You know, you are reaching numbers, even with your political stuff, you know, on your social media, your Facebook. People are starting to wake up. And I hope they do wake up to the little guys like us, because we're not trying to manipulate people, Sauce. No. We're trying to wake people up to understand what this country is becoming. And
not only wake them up, but educate them. That's very important. Because you can be awakened, but you can also be awakened and uneducated. Then you can get back in the same rut. For instance, all these people that are paying the higher gas prices, right now they might be awakened, but what happens when people are like, when things get back to normal? What happens if we were to win back the Senate, win back the House? Okay, what happens then? We still have a Democrat in the White House. We still have, this country might be kind of turning around, but they're still like, oh, okay, now I'm awakened. Now I can vote GOP. But I'll just go back to my original life, and I'll just go back to my original. You know what it's going to turn into,
Sauce? You know what's going to happen, right? We're going to go into what's called a culture society shock. We're going to be like, whoa, whoa, you know, like, you know, when you shock yourself, when you touch the outlet, sometimes you're going to be like, whoa, you know, like it's going to happen.
Or pinch me, I must be dreaming thing.
Yeah.
One of those ones. Well, and that's the whole thing, is that we have to educate ourselves. You know, and the thing is that we also have to look at, okay, is the January 6th committee actually valid? You know, is the information, and are they credible, number one? Number two, do we, look at the people's voting records. Look at Liz Cheney's voting record. Look at all those other Republicans' voting records. Look at theirs. See, that's a lot of things that people don't really vote. That's a lot of people that they don't look into. And that's like the whole education part yourself, the whole education. You look at those two. Yeah. Then you look at it and you're like, oh, maybe this is not a partisan thing anymore. Maybe this is they're all Democrats, but just because they put an R doesn't mean that they're for you. Just because they are R. And that's the thing that we're seeing. And that's one thing that President Trump really got at when he was running in 2016. And he's doing a really good job right now of exposing the true Democrats, which are your rhinos. And he's doing a great job. That's what he's doing.
Yes.
That's what they want to get rid of him.
Yes, he is, Sauce. I almost called you Trump because you speak like Trump. Yes, he is, Sauce. He is waking people up. And what do I mean by this? Sauce just hit my next topic of the show that's relevant to what we're talking about.
Sorry about that.
He is waking people. No, don't be apologize. He is waking people up. And you know what I mean by waking people up? He is starting to see and show voters that voted for Biden back in 2020, they are now starting to regret their 2020 choice 18 months into the presidency of Joe Biden. Check this clip out, guys. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about.
I voted for Biden back in 2020, and I seriously regret it.
In 2020, I voted for Joe Biden, and I now see that as a mistake.
I voted for Biden in 2020, and I definitely regret voting for him. I will not do it again.
Folks, the people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory.
Growing up, I thought that Democrats were for everybody, you know, especially, like I said, specifically for Black people. And I kind of had that, I was programmed in a sense with that Democratic, you know, savior type of situation. Going into, you know, the 2020 election, I was all for Biden. That's who I voted for. I was like, okay, Biden's gonna have change. He's you know, for everyone. And I was underneath the impression that he was going to do what he was going to say he was going to do, and not, you know, be lying. I just found out the hard way, unfortunately, that, you know, Biden isn't who he says he is, and that it seems like Democrats, in a sense, they just want to keep us in the same spot, in the same place, more so dependent on them, dependent on the government. And I just feel like, as a whole, we're just stagnant. Black people were kind of trapped in the vicious cycle of believing what Democrats tell us. And that's what I was for my whole entire life. You know, I believed everything they told me. I believed they're going to make things better. And if you look at the track record of history, they really haven't. They haven't done anything for us, for anybody really.
I started noticing that I made a huge mistake voting for Biden really just a couple of months after Biden took office. And it was a combination of a number of things. Part of it was just the handling of the pandemic. It was the handling of the economy. It's inflation. It's because I voted for someone who's essentially furthering Marxist ideas in our country that I regret voting for him. I mean, it really was a terrible choice. I'm inclined to think that there are still Democrats who believe in who believe in agency and autonomy of the individual. I think that, but I think a lot of the party has been taken over and appropriated by Marxists, and that's not a controversial thing to say. Just simply, a person simply has to look at the policies. A person simply has to, read Paulo Freire or Herbert Marcuse, and then see all of the academic papers coming out of ed schools that cite those two Marxist scholars.
So back in 2020, it was the first time I ever actually decided to vote, and I did vote for Joe Biden because of all the promises he had made. His main point was he's going to help the poor people, but and that the stimulus check. But we didn't get the full stimulus check that he had promised us. He didn't keep any of his promises. He's not helping the poor are getting poorer. I'm the poor, and I'm getting poorer, so I can barely afford to eat. Groceries are expensive. Gas is expensive. Like, how is gas $5 a gallon? Couch surf right now. I kind of stay with my boyfriend and his mom. My son lives with my parents. Like, I don't want my son to have like a homeless mom, but it seems like everyone's going to be homeless soon. Like, it's so.
Yeah, I totally agree, guys. First, I want to, let everybody know these are not these are not actors. These are real people spilling out their hearts through the program that we used from Fox News that was so generous to put out on the internet. So thank you very much. I always give hat tips to people that put out the videos. Hat tip to Fox News. Thank you very much for putting out that tremendous piece of content. Like I said, guys, real people, not actors. These are people that seen the fake lies of Joe Biden say, I'm going to build this country back better again, better than Donald Trump. I'm going to make America better under my administration that Donald Trump ever envisioned. Sauce, what is your comments here on the show with these people? They're spilling out their hearts here, Sauce. They're upset. They feel that their leader, Joe Biden, has failed them. Joe Biden has failed.
Well, they should have known that before. They should have known his record. They should have known that before. That's why I tell people, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you voted for him. Now you're living in the consequences. Don't go out and complaining to me, because it's your fault that you relied on, that you listened to your college professors, and it's your fault that you literally were blinded and said, I'm not going to listen to what other people have to say. I'm not going to listen to my friend that says, hey, I got a lot more money back under President Trump taxes. Oh, no, he's a mean guy, so I'm not going to vote for him because he's so mean. Or I don't like his mean tweets, so I'm going to vote for the other candidate. Well, great. You voted for the other candidate. Now you got to deal. It's like with those consequences. Oh, man, well, too bad. For instance, if I robbed a bank, I'm like, oh, man, too bad. I'm sorry I robbed the bank. Can I get let go of jail? Like, I don't want to be held liable for my consequences. Or, for instance, so partially I do feel bad. Partially me feels bad for them. But on the other hand, it's that whole educating yourself, taking that extra time instead of smoking a pot in your mother's basement, and also working on relying on other people like CNN to rely on information for you. That's why I don't really feel bad for them.
Yeah, Sauce, this was this was pre-warnings from Donald Trump himself. He said this. Sometimes, folks, listen, You need to bite the bullet. You know what I mean by that? It's an old phrase from the 70s and 80s, okay? Which I could relate on. I'm an 80s baby, okay? You need to bite the bullet. Sometimes the mean man that tweets at 3 o'clock in the morning is right on some things. Sometimes you need to shut your mouth, like Sauce says. Stop smoking the pot. Stop eating the Twinkies at the college dorms. Shut your mouth. Get educated. And listen to what the former president was saying. He says, because what did he say, Sauce? What did the president say 2.5, almost 3 years ago? What did he say? If Joe Biden gets into office, what's going to happen?
Gas prices are going to go up. You're going to lose your house. Housing market's going to crash. We're going to be ended up in a third world country. And what are we doing? And also he said that we'll be a country that's divided, won't get anything done. And even I said that before. And I was on his campaign and I spoke with him directly. I even said it too on my rallies. And when I spoke with him, I said, you know what? If you vote for Biden, you're going to end up with a country that's going to be Russia 2.0 all over again. But it's going to be Russia on steroids because it's going to be undermining your weapons. You're going to have more shootings. You're going to have all these more things. And haven't you noticed that we've been having a lot more shootings during the precipice of these hearings? Have you noticed that have we had more shootings? The reason why we've had more shootings is because in order to take people's rights away, and this goes back to their October agenda, if you do more of these shootings, and now I hate to say it, but I do feel bad for the families that are by the shootings. I'm not saying it's not to be a callous statement, but if you want to push an agenda, you have to stage all these shootings. It has to be people that are paid off to go do these heinous acts and then say, oh, whoops, well, I was on mental illness, or whoops, I forgot to take my medication today, or whoops, our cameras didn't work, or whoops, I was a felon, but I ended up getting a whole bunch of guns and 230 rounds of ammunition. You know, and so then what happens? You do these acts, you get paid out, and then you get all the extreme gun bills that is meant to take your weapons rights away, that you can't buy certain guns now. That is what Adolf Hitler did, and that's what the Democratic agenda is, and that's what just happened today. Ban on assault weapons. That's because of all these staged shootings. Sorry, I don't mean to be callous, but
no, you're fine. You're fine. I don't know if you've seen that little graphic we posted on the show, but I'll put it up there for you, Sauce, and for the viewers that are tuning in live here on Twitch. But like I said, was 2020 a big lie? Was it a big lie, folks? Like literally, let's put the graphic up, right? Was the 2020 election a huge lie, full of broken promises, manipulation, narratives that were never accurate to begin with, just to get power at the helm, right? It's like, let's go back to our early years, where we came from, Great Britain, London. Look at the power grab of the helm of the king and queen. Look at that system. They would do so much to their people. They wouldn't even call them people, Sauce. They would call them peasants. Literally peasants. It got boiled down to where these peasants got fed up and they would literally leave their home countries and they would become pirates. And eventually, the peasants turned pirates would actually be manipulated by the system, Sauce, and they would literally do this upon their own crew members of that ship. So literally, was 2020, the main election, a huge lie? Was it a lie?
Oh, absolutely, right? No doubt. Yeah. It was a big deception lie too. It was a big deception. It was like we both said, I think multiple times. It's false promises that Adolf Hitler said. Well, we're going to give you all this. We're going to give you all this. And then what happens? He gets in power and nothing happens. We go digress and we get worse. What happens? Yeah. We crush. What happened? Like today, what happened today at the World Economic Forum, where we gave our health constitution over to the World Economic Forum. So now they can control what happens under a world pandemic because of this so-called COVID that recently happened. So now we don't have any health rights anymore because Dodo in the White House decided to say, oh, well, we got to do it to protect democracy. So he just gives our health constitutional rights away. And it's giving our sovereignty to our enemies pretty much. So we're no better than our communist adversaries. We're no better than that. And another factor that I tend to see is another factor that I also see is you look in this projection 2024. You look in this and you look at it, and as long as they can deteriorate President Trump to like nobody, and I could see them arresting President Trump and giving them enough evidence to push for an arrest so that he doesn't run in 2024 like that sticker says. So he doesn't run, and neither does his kids run for Senate like they're eyeing out in Florida. And I wouldn't be surprised if they throw DeSantis under this bus either. I wouldn't be surprised if DeSantis gets thrown under this so they can null and void his running in 2024 as well. Watch out for that one too.
Sauce, my one question about all this is, especially January 6th committee, where's Michael Pence out of all this? I haven't seen him at all, even with public appearances. Where the hell is Michael Pence? Where is the former vice president of this country? Where is Michael Pence when this is all going down? Is he hiding out or something?
Or he's backstabbing other Republicans and President Trump's cabinet members. Or he could be doing that too and making sure that he's protected. And isn't it funny how he doesn't have to testify in front of Congress?
Yeah, you're probably going to scratch your head. Thank you, Michael, for bringing up Michael Pence. Like, literally.
Yeah.
Why isn't he testifying? How come they're testifying Bannon and everybody that was tied to Donald Trump in 4 years? Like I said, they're going after everybody. They're going after Giuliani, Bannon. They're going after Steve Mnuchin. They're going after Sarah Huckabee Sanders. They're going even after Caleb McAnany. I mean, she's said it on the show on Fox's The Five. She's like, oh, shit, I'm probably next. I mean, they're going after everybody.
Who knows? I might be next.
But why are they not going after Michael Pence? Where's Michael Pence in all this?
Well, because he's a poster child for the establishment. What do you expect?
Yeah. But if he was part of the Trump cabinet, which he was, I mean, not the cabinet, excuse me, he was the vice president. Let me correct myself on my own show. He was the vice president of the country. So if he was Donald Trump's vice president, meaning second in charge, if anything were to happen to Trump, Michael Pence would become the president. Why are they not testifying Pence? Not that I'm trying to say anything bad about Pence, but why not testify him?
Well, because he knew that the election wasn't rigged. He knew that he went along with the Democratic playbook, and he also knew that he went along with the playbook for the establishment. And if anyone really knew him as governor in Indiana, he knew that he was established. And this, and I hate to say it, but this was also President Trump's failed job as well, because he failed to do his own due diligence of vetting him out. Now I understand if President Trump were to win again in 2024, he would have to clean house completely. He would have to get rid of everybody in order to get like his people that he trusts that won't backstab him. Mike Pence backstabbed him multiple times. And 2020 was 2022 that was the one that broke the camel's back, because he even said off camera, okay, I was actually in Wisconsin, Waukesha, Wisconsin, on November 24th. Okay, I was in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and he said that, you know what, we're going to overturn. I'm going to do the right thing because God has promised me, And they were so proud. But then I spoke to him afterwards. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. He's like, the election was fair and he's like, I'm just going to go along with the flow. I said, excuse me?
What?
He said that to me in front of my face. And he said it with a different demeanor. He said that with a different look in his eyes, stating that, you know what, I got bought out. I took the money. That shows you something.
Yeah, it does, Sauce. But, I understand why Trump appointed Pence as the vice president. I do. He comes from a small town of Indiana. He's a Christian, spiritual man. But he was doing the right thing for America, making somebody that showed great morale. Showed that great movement, showed the morale, showed the movement.
He didn't do anything for America that was right.
But it changed.
Yeah, well, he divided this country. Don't get me wrong.
Well, towards the end, he didn't.
Yeah.
You talking about Pence?
Yeah, towards the end, he didn't do a single thing except backstabbed him. And another thing is that he never really. Well, here's another thing. When he won,
well, towards the end, Sus, let's make correction here. Towards the end, Pence did turn a little bit towards the end. I want to say like into the third, fourth year. Yeah.
Yeah, and third year after the midterms, after he knew that what turned is that after they lost the House in 2018, then he's like, well, we lost the House, so I might as well just go along with the vote, and go and kind of slow step in. Because he had the power. He was a president of the Senate too. He was a president of the Senate. Okay.
Yeah.
He could have said under the first impeachment in 2018, when they pushed that first impeachment, he could have squashed that in a heartbeat.
Oh, sure.
Okay. But he didn't. He did not squash it in 2018. He did not squash it, and that's when he turned. Right when they lost the House, and and a lot of people don't understand that.
And a lot of people put that quote there where they actually, were like, hang Pence. That made tremendous turmoil there, political turmoil, with the whole hang Pence thing, which made headlines all over the place. Even Democrats were like, that's a terrible thing to say. Terrible thing to say. Well, I mean, he should have done right for the sovereignty of this country. With 2020, he should have said, you know what? There may have been foul play in a lot of states. There may have been voter fraud. There may have been, some malicious type of behavior. I think we need to check this out. I think we need to do what's right for the faith of this country. I think it needs to be done. But what did Pence do? Like any other career politician, he thought about his career. He thought about what happens to himself, Michael Pence. What happens to me after the election? What happens to myself, my family, my paycheck? Am I going to be in prison too? He thought about possible imprisonment. He thought that Donald Trump was going to get arrested shortly after January 6th. That's what was going on. That's what everything was going down to. Michael Pence thought he was going to be placed under arrest like a week or 2 weeks after January 6th. That's what he was afraid of.
Yep. So he folded up like a lawn chair. And he's like, well, there goes my character. It's like, it's like, for instance, I lost everything. For instance, like, you rob a bank, okay, and you're the driver. You're the getaway driver, okay? You're the getaway driver, and look what happens, okay?
Yeah.
The getaway driver, you're like, oh, well, do I want to do the right thing, or do I just take the money and we all split it between the three of us? Do I want to get the 33%? Anyway, there's something bad is happening, and I'm already in the getaway driver. Well,
you're almost like you're almost phrasing like a Godfather mafia type of scene. You know what I mean? Like where do you take the money or do you run?
Yeah, or do you do the right thing? And what happened? He's like, "Oh, I'll take the money," and he took the money and ran, and so he didn't do the right thing. And see, that's where I think a lot of people are at a breaking point, and this is where it really put a huge disturbance on this country, and it really upset people, and that's why we're in this predicament, and that's why Mike Pence doesn't have to testify in front of the January 6th committee, because he's like, he's already went through enough. He's got PTSD and stuff, and what do you think? He's gearing up for a 2024 run. He's running for president again. Yeah. What do you think? He's that's why I say he's a poster child of the establishment. Mike Pence is.
And God willing, I hope if Donald Trump is running, which I think he is. No doubt. Lindsey Graham just pointed this out about a week ago. Great Lindsey Graham of South Carolina said that he feels, and he said this like right before July 4th, right before Independence Day. He said that he has a strong gut feeling that Donald Trump is going to pick a city during his rally. Lindsey Graham thinks that Donald Trump is officially going to put his ticket out there to run for 2024 presidency in a city at one of his biggest rallies yet, and he thinks that he's going to get at that podium and he's going to say, does everybody miss me yet? Can we say that we not have more fun at a Trump rally? Folks, do you want me to become the president of the United States? And then you're going to hear a crowd cheering, the crowd going nuts like they always do. And that's where Trump is going to announce, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to run for 2024, in the Trump voice. You know what I mean? Sorry, guys. I can't do a good impression of Trump. But yeah.
Well, he's got to finish his plane. I mean, did you see his newest plane that's coming out?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah. It's going to be, it's beautiful, isn't it? Boeing 757, state of the art. I mean, I'm jealous. I think he's going to.
It's a piece of work, I tell you that.
Yep. Very beautiful. It's a very beautiful aircraft, and it's like newly built. So I think it's going to be, I think he's going to wait till that's done, and he's going to fly into it's either going to be in Texas or it's going to be in Florida. It's going to be in Miami, Florida, where he's going to officially announce. It's going to be either Texas or Florida. Depends.
Yeah, it could be either or. Could be either or. Hold on to that thought, Sauce. We got about another about 5-10 minutes, if that's okay with you. I want to get into this last topic here. About 10 minutes here left on the show. Guys, I got to get a quick break in here. I'll be right back after these short words. Don't go anywhere.
Around the Hulu Motel and you start to realize everybody's into something.
Can't you see he's such a boss?
There are those whose theories have theories.
It's obviously the cat guy. It's always the cat guy.
Others live to chase the thrill. But no matter what you're into, Hulu has it all. No questions asked. 'Cause hey, who am I to judge?
Huzzah.
Democrats now forced to admit what most Americans see plain as day. President Biden is a total disaster. Multiple media reports have liberals bashing the commander-in-chief as weak and ineffective, complaining that Joe is not moving fast enough to respond to multiple crises rocking his administration. One liberal lawmaker telling CNN that the Biden administration is, quote, rudderless, aimless, and hopeless. Another saying, quote, it's almost like he's hiding. He has the bully pulpit, and he's either hiding behind it or under it. I don't know where he is. And a Democratic strategist ripping into Biden's team, quote, it's infuriating. Our house is on fire, and it seems like they're doing nothing to put the fire out. They're just watching it with the rest of us. And the usually sympathetic media also bashing Biden.
There is this sense that things are kind of out of control and he's not in command.
We need Joe Biden to be present and to be a leader that meets this moment. I mean, do something, I think is the point that people are saying. We're not giving folk anything to be excited about, and we don't have that fierce urgency of now.
And, things are truly a disaster when Hollywood celebrities jump ship. Actress Deborah Messing reportedly fed up about President Biden's lack of urgency and the administration being unprepared despite weeks of warning on the reversal of Roe versus Wade. She also reportedly claimed credit for getting Joe Biden elected. I guess we better do a check on whether or not Deborah Messing actually got Joe Biden elected. But Jesse, I'll start with you. When they say we need him to be present and to be the leader, is Joe Biden capable of that?
No, he never was. And I think big tech and China were like, actually, no, we got Joe Biden elected.
Oh, my God. America's favorite judge, Judge Jeanine Pirro from The Five. I love her. Judge Jeanine, kudos to you. Thank you very much. Yes, even the liberal machine is like, this presidency, folks, is turning into a fucking disaster. Well, Judge Jeanine didn't say it, but, my show, unfiltered, of course. But, Sauce, as we close it out in the show, about another 7 minutes here, sir, they know. The ship is sinking, Sauce. The Titanic of the Biden administration has hit a freaking iceberg. and it's
Yep.
going down. The ship capping at the helm is like,
what do we do?
you know,
Yeah,
what do we do? Yeah.
Well, and see, and that's scary to think about because that's where that 25th Amendment is going to be invoked, and that's where it's scary. Then that's where they're really heavily relying on this January 6th committee. That's where they're really heavily relying on it. That should scare each and every single one of your listeners and the viewers that are listening to this and viewing this, because if the Democrats go through what they plan, okay, we will lose the House by a big time, and we also lose the Senate, and then we're going to have a big problem on our hands. And then that's where I feel like America will be at a breaking point. Just like what happened to Argentina today, for instance, where the Argentinian citizens are sick and tired, and so they're about to overthrow their government as they're speaking of right now because of their failure leadership. And that's what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the viewers here coming off of Twitch here from from Dublin. Like I mentioned, Dublin earlier in the stream tonight. Thank you very much to the Twitch streamer coming in from Dublin. Wow, that's a really, really far-fetched time zone. Thank you very much. At really early in the morning, right? Holy shit! Thank you very much for joining us from Dublin, Ireland. Very much. Doesn't want to mention the handle name. I respect that, but thank you very much for joining in, saying that American politics is literally at stake at 2024. It's now or never for Americans. I agree with that. Thank you very much from Dublin. I agree with that. American politics is literally at stake. It's now or never, Sauce. Literally, it's now or never.
And literally, the Constitution is writing on 2024. You know, it's literally writing. Yeah. And so it's going to be interesting because the states' powers are writing on 2022 at midterms.
Yeah.
While our country together is writing in 2024. So literally, if 2022 just goes down the tube, and not like this red wave that people are talking about doesn't happen, we're not going to have a country by 2024. We're going to expect a Democrat to take office in 2024, and literally expect the Venezuela and Russia 2.0, where we're going to have mass protesting, and we're going to absolutely have a complete free for all the day after the election in 2024.
Oh, absolutely, Sas. And guess what, folks? We're not, like Sas says, we're going to lose our country. Guess what, folks? We're not going back to colonial 13 colonies of America.
No.
We're not going back to colonial America. You know where we're going back? We're going back to the dark ages, literally.
Yeah.
This president has taken us back to the dark ages.
Yeah, we're going
literally,
back.
Yeah, we're not going to have it's terrible.
No,
yeah.
And we are literally at a point where we're going to be like Russia. And like, for instance, if you protest against Russia and the Russian government, you have the military at your doorstep and they arrest you for protest. And then you get to go to work camps, which is not what people want to go to. And we're almost there. But a lot of us, we're literally like, we're tiptoeing and you can smell you can smell it. That's how close we are. And
it's like coffee brewed in the morning.
Well, really nasty coffee. No, it's like a pit. It's like a tar of a pit, like oil,
like truck stop, like truck stop coffee. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
But Sas, I wanted to get into something here before we close it out here. You said something to me off the air, which if it's okay with you, I'd like to discuss this for the next minute or two before we close it out.
What's that?
You said just last night. I think it was last night's stream that you were on. Right? Was it? No, the night before, right? God, I have Anyway, when you were on the show last, there was a listener or maybe a follower or something that didn't agree with what you had said.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
What the hell is up with that, Sas?
I guess it happens when you're a public figure. I mean, you get people you have people agree with you and disagree with you. I mean, what do you expect? There was an op-ed.
I don't remember you saying anything bad. I mean,
no. Well, I mean, I live in Madison. I mean,
maybe you offended their little snowflake heart.
Oh, who knows? Yeah, who knows? Well, when you live in a country for instance, when you live in a country like that, people are like, you're like kind of balancing between like faith and politics and stuff, and you're trying to keep a fine line. That's why I'm like, you know what? People invite me on their shows. And I just only give them content. I don't purposely talk about politics on my podcast because that's not what I'm about. You invited me, so I'm just doing what you invited me to do. And sometimes I give you the content. If you don't like it, well, go for a hike. Do something. Don't watch me and don't stalk me. That's weird. Stalk somebody else.
Sus, that's why I like having you on the show, man. Like you and I can relate so much on politics and, American principles and policies. Like, whatever you say, I let you have the floor. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't upset me. It doesn't like, oh my God, he's going to bury me. I care less. Guys, it's not about money. It's not about becoming rich and famous. It's about getting the content out there because you have nitwits of mainstream that literally will just sell you something that's complete garbage. Garbage. Yeah. It's terrible. I mentioned this the other day, like with this pastor coming out of Tennessee, Greg Locke, Pastor Greg Locke. You know what they're doing to him is terrible. Terrible. Mm-hmm. They're calling him an anti-Christian. Why? Because he speaks the truth? He's not a scripted Christian? Don't get me wrong. With all due respect to Christian people out there in America, there are scripted Christians. And what do I mean by that? They're people that will basically sell you something. They don't mean to say it. They're scripted. This guy, Greg Locke, is not scripted. He's an unfiltered, real Christian. And what they're doing to him, Sauce, is terrible. My heart goes out to Greg Locke. I actually emailed Greg Locke, and I think he got the email. So we should have Greg Locke on the show soon. I'm going to save that for hopefully Sauce come on. And we're going to interview Greg Locke, and we're going to tell Greg Locke that, sir, you are not alone. Because what they are doing to Greg Locke and on the outskirts of Nashville, Tennessee, is wrong. That man is standing up for his church community, and they're attacking him on every damn level, and that is wrong. Wrong.
Yep. Well, and you also have to look at this as we end it. If you start educating people, that means they're fighting between they're having the conviction. So that's why they're fighting back, because they're like, oh, wait, maybe they're telling me something. Oh, I can't believe that, what they're telling me. So I'll fight back because you're denying the truth. So maybe that's good that we're educating them. That's the reason why I come on here. That's why we work such as a great team, because we're educating your listeners. We're educating people. If it grows, well, we don't mean it to grow, but it's great for both of us.
Yeah. We're educating the uneducated. We're educating sometimes the educated people that may be a little lost, that like, oh, I don't know who to believe because, you got so much content out there, especially in today's society where, CNN is saying it, Fox, Newsmax, all of them, like they don't know who to believe, Sauce. Like we've become a society where even the most highly intelligent, educated people are lost for words. They don't know who to believe, There's so much, misinformed content out there. Exactly. You nailed it on the spot. Guys, before we close it out here, I want to make a huge announcement. Tomorrow evening, we are going to have the new co-host that will be joining us for July 25th. We're having a sneak peek appearance by the man behind the mic of Liz Dexia 82 will be joining us. Derek, real name, but we all wants to be called Liz Dexia. That's his Twitch thing, I get it. He's going to be coming on for the first time, stepping aside from his general talk of gaming. He's going to be talking politics. I've talked politics with this man once before, Sauce. He is a damn near dynamite on the mic when it comes to politics. So join us tomorrow evening with Derek, Liz Dexia 82. He's going to be on this. Guys, he's a damn near host. He's a good host. Tomorrow evening. So want to check that out, guys. Also, I also want to give out 2 promo codes here. I always love to give the promo codes and also the sponsors here on the show. If you head over to Helium 10 for all my e-commerce merchants out there, guys, you don't know where to turn to. You want to get that brand, that product exposed. You want to build up your material. Head over to helium10.com. What are they? They are a company that uses Walmart.com and Amazon.com for all your product listings. I'm telling you guys, this company will expose you on a good level, okay? Use promo code Patriot10, and just by signing up with our promo code, you are going to get 10% off every single month. Phenomenal deal. For all my CBD lovers out there, okay? CBD oil works like wonders. They call it the magical pill, but on a healthy scale. Head over to liverishi.com. That's spelled L-I-V-E, Rishi, R-I-S-H-I, liverishi.com. You use promo code Patriot Unfiltered for 20% off of anything on the website. Any product, 20% off, Patriot Unfiltered. Phenomenal deal, guys. Phenomenal. Also want to say that you could find us now on Amazon Alexa. Just say, hey, Alexa, play the Patriot Angle podcast, and it's going to play the most current one, okay? It's going to play the most current one, which was the previous one of me and Sauce on it. It's not going to play this one because it's going to take about an hour for us to edit it, of course, and all that. So when you say, Alexa, play the Patriot Angle podcast, it's going to play episode 289. This is going to be 290, folks. Yes, we are 10 episodes shy of 300. Sauce can tell you, Sauce, what's going to happen at 300? It's going to be what?
Epic. We're going to be doing an epic show.
Fucking epic. There we go. Sauce won't say fuck. I understand he's a Christian man. I got to respect that.
So,
go ahead, Sauce.
So if anyone wants to follow me, I do a podcast myself. If anyone wants to follow my social handle, I think I'm Sauceman, Sauceland Stevenson 2024 on Instagram. I'm on Spotify called Remember God Loves You, and I'll meet at the finish line. Or if you go on Spotify, you just put SOSLAN and then space Temanson, TEMANSON. We'll put it in the link below. You put that in the search engine, my podcast will show up. You'll find either on I'm on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and Google Podcasts. And I also post on Facebook regularly of my community outreach as my ministry called Remember God Loves You, and I'll meet at the finish line. And I like to do that to interact with the local community. And no, I am not running for office, but I love to support our local community and bring our community together. That's my ad. Are we good? All right, we are good. Thank you so much for joining, and have a blessed day. Bye.
1 second, Sauce. Bear with me. I was doing this here real quick. So, like you said, you can find Sauce on Instagram, Sauceland_Temanson 2024. Follow all of his content, guys. He's on Amazon. Huge. Let's blow up the following for Sauceland on Instagram. Thank you very much for the listeners on Dublin. Thank you. I'm not saying your handle, but thank you. You are going to follow Sauceland. Awesome. Thank you to Dublin. Okay. If you can see that, Sauce, hopefully I just blew up your Instagram. So anyway, had about a good 10,000 on the Dublin community. Thank you very much. Dublin is hitting strong tonight. Thank you to my Irish, if I said that correctly. But yes, it's been an honor, buddy. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
All righty.